the vlog. I'm terrible at vlogging. And we're just on our way. This one is an hour and 8 minutes away, and which means I'm gonna get there at 6:08, and the event starts at 6:30, but like the door opens at 6, and I'm like, wait, do they mean the door as in people walk in at 6? Cause shit, I should have left early so I could get in line. I'm like, honestly, I don't remember. Like, well, okay, so this is my third event with Novel Neighbor. Anytime I've ever seen an author, it's with a different bookstore that hosts. And they always host at this library that Novel Neighbor has set it up with this time. So, I should have probably left early. I was thinking about leaving an hour early so I could check out the Hyphen Christ bookstore at this location. But I was like, nah, I don't need to spend more money. And then I started to get ready, and now I'm leaving. I'm on the highway right now. It's 5:11. And I'm on my way. So yeah. My next clip is probably going to be me walking up into the library or some shit. See you in the next clip. Fuck. I guess I need to get way fucking earlier. Like, Jesus Christ. I got here at 6:00. I don't even know what time. 6:07? I'm in group 3. At least I'm in group 3 and not group 5. Now I have a sneaky suspicious feeling that this is not going to be one reason the other event, oh god, was so popular was because of, obviously, Ali Hazelwood. There's decent popular authors now, but not as popular as Ali Hazelwood. At least with people, I don't know, it's hard to explain because, Ali Hazelwood writes, so close to my face, writes, romance, and romance is really poppin' compared to fantasy, especially with one of them being Axio. I'm pretty sure that's how you say your name, and a lot of people don't read diverse. There's a parking spot right next to the door. I was almost tempted to go anyway, so I'm gonna go in.
We talked a little bit about your world building, but there's a lot of world building and magic systems happening between these 3 books. So if you could speak a little bit to what your process is as an author to figure out what your world looks like and how you introduce that world to the reader over the course of the story. Because I think something that you all do so well is you're not like info dumping on us. Like, I didn't have to immediately feel like I knew the world, like you were kind of, like an onion, like we're going layer by layer. And so just walking us through what your individual process looks like and how you built this world for the book that you're talking about.
Well, I've done a lot of books, and so every single book I approach differently. I wish there was just like a manual I could open up to page 3. Okay, now it's time to do this. Every book requires its own set of rules and world building. And in my latest book, The Courting of Bristol Keats, it's built on Celtic mythology, so I had a whole bunch of things to pull from. With The Kiss of Deception, it is all brand new. I wanted to write a book. It's coming off the heels of Jenna Fox, a book that had absolutely, I didn't have to do a lot of research, but there's always research, and it's a post-apocalyptic world. Many of you don't know that. You do now. And yeah, I see a nod back there. And there's all kinds of little Easter eggs throughout the book that tells you that. But I still had to do lots of research, and that's really fun to do. But just things that I didn't know, like how long does it take for the Golden Gate Bridge to break down, the iron to corrode. I mean, all these things, like, it's really fascinating, actually, when you start reading all about this. So that's just like the actual physical world. But then there's all the rules. It's a culture that has grown out of the ashes, out of a destroyed one. And so I tried to imagine our own world if it was destroyed, what things would survive, what things would get twisted because of the way we tell people. Imagine this, if there was no electricity ever again, and you tried to tell a 4-year-old child who had never seen a light switch turn on that going over and flipping that would make the room light up. There's just lots of little things like that that become legends in this whole world. So yeah, that was a lot of the world building, and then just the laws that would come out of that, the government, it molds the character. We are products of our world, and so I also had to think how each character would react to this world.
I could talk about your world forever. I am really intrigued by the breaking down of the gold.
And they bathe in waterfall pools, but in order to bathe, they have to take off their wings and hang them on the bough of a tree. And in the legends, a human steals the wings of a celestial maiden which drops on Earth. So similar to the Swan Maiden myth or a Selkie myth. And so that was the beginning. So that was a setup. And I was okay, so if my character is Celestial Maiden, I have to give her superpowers. Obviously. And so I was okay, I'm gonna Sailor Moonify her. And so I gave her light powers, and I gave her healing powers, just gave her a lot of cool powers. And then I was okay, so she has light powers, and the love interest has to have demon powers, because there has to be a cool dichotomy. And so I have the floating world, which floats in the sky, but it's not super high, it's actually pretty close to the ground, and it covers, it's pretty stationary, or it is stationary, and it covers a city that's completely enshadowed, and that's called the underworld. And the underworld is sort of a steampunk, sci-fi kind of city, and that's where my boy hero is from. So it's sort of because the floating world, a Celestial Maidens created the floating world, and I was all right, well, I have the floating world, now I'm gonna need this dark city, and then I wanted trains, so it has to be steampunk, I wanted airships. So it was sort of putting things I think is really cool into the world, but also trying to ground it with rules and some system. Sure, yeah. But that was sort of how it all came together.
I really just love all of your references. If you brought up Anastasia, Swan Princess, and Sailor Moon, which are 3 of my favorite things.
I also have that.
So true. You're a great hand teller. We'll bring you into the bookstore if you just keep giving thumbs. Diana.
For me, proud of using magic to discuss trauma. So the magic system.
And I don't know, I'm sure Macmillan knew this when they made the tour, but you're all kind of at different stages of your author career. Diana, this is your first book. Actually, you have 6 books, like you said, so you're kind of right in the middle. You have several books under your belt. And Mary, you've written so many books. You've been writing for, you have such a prolific career. And so I'm wondering if you could all speak to kind of, this will change, obviously, based off of who's answering it, but kind of your experience in publishing and why you started writing in YA and what you're hopeful for the genre and or what you've seen with the genre as you've been in writing in this space, if that makes sense. Try and do that for all of you. Mary, do you want to kick us off?
I've been writing since, for ancient redwoods. No, I've been writing for a long time. But actually, I wasn't published. My first book wasn't published till I was 40, or I sold my first book at 42. So any writers in here? Oh, yeah, a few, and I know that there's always more than that. But, and so, it's I always had the dream of being a writer, but it just was, life kept getting in the way, and it seemed too big of a goal, and I finally was it's now or never. And so never think that your dreams are not attainable. And I wasn't sure if I'd ever get one book published, but then I used to be a teacher, and I had one published, then I got another published, and then my credential expired, and then I was a full-time author. So But the industry has changed tremendously since I started. There used to be a really much bigger and stronger school and library market. It seems Barnes and Noble literally had any bookstore literally had one, I don't know what you call that, one shelf of YA books tucked somewhere way in the back, and they were all super old ones. Yeah, you remember those days. And I was told when I started writing YA, oh, don't write YA, none of those books ever sell. And I'm glad I didn't take that advice, because that's what I wanted to write. And so it's changed a lot, evolved, and I love that everyone's found out they're good books to read, and it's not just for YAs. Most of my audience is adults, so and I've written, most of those books have been YA, but I have ventured into the adult realm, because I just wanted to, all of my books have been a little bit different, much to my publisher's chagrin, because it's really hard to market somebody when they keep switching around. I've done contemporary, I've done sci-fi, but you have to write what draws you, and I love that they have allowed me to do that. So.
To be here, I love having a great time.
We're thrilled you're here.
Thank you. I was an attorney, and I wrote this book while working full time and also having 3 kids. So I would put my kids on the bus at 6 a.m. and then I would go to a coffee shop from 6 until 8 and write as the sun came up, and then I would go to court and be in court all day. And it was like this magically creative, and a lot of the rest of my life was overwhelming, but that part of my morning was really special. And so it's really beautiful for me now that I get to do that all day, all the time, that I get to come out to events like this and talk to other bookish people, and that's really cool for me. So I like YA because I think it has a stronger sense of hope, and I think it's a special time of life. All your emotions are high, your drama is high, but you're also discovering who you are and who you want to be. And I think that's something that all ages can really relate to, but it is best expressed through the heightened emotions of a teenager who's trying to figure out their place in the world. And I think that's what draws people to it. That's what draws me to it. Yeah.
And they're making mistakes for the first time. It's
Yeah.
like adults who just keep, redoing the same mistakes.
Right.
I have a lot of sympathy for a teenager who is making a mistake for the first time.
And their world ends when they make that mistake. They think it feels like the world ends. They're not hardened against it yet. And so it's a raw time of life.
I love how you talked about that. Couldn't agree more.
And I love how even when you make the mistake, there's opportunity to change and be better, and there's so much growth too in YA, which I think the understanding that you can change and grow and change your mind about things too, I think is so empowering. And that's a classic theme of YA. Yeah. But when I first started out, I had this dream of or a vision of what how to become an author was, and my career has been very different than that, which is great. So my first 2 books actually got published because I won an award. So I won an award called the New Visions Award for a small publisher called Lee & Low that only published unpublished authors of color who have never been published before. And so I won that award, so that's sort of how I got my foot in the door. And then in my bio, it says I like K-pop. And so HarperCollins came to me and asked, do you want to write a K-pop book for us? And so that's how XOXO came about. And then I've been publishing for a long time, so I have lots of writer friends. And one of my friends said oh, there's this editor at Fallon Friends who's looking for retellings, and I know you're writing one. And so she gave me the name, and so my agent submitted to the editor, and she became my editor. So it was sort of a lot of just being around for a while. Or no, just making connections with people and just really following being open to opportunities too, not being there's only one way to be a writer. And so so I've written sci-fi, contemporary, fantasy, but I also read all those genres. I love them all. If someone was can you write a thriller? I don't know if I could. I don't know. I love horror. I also don't know if I could write horror, but I love horror.
If you wrote me like a cozy horror.
Oh, cozy horror. What's cozy horror?
No, okay, so here's an example. This is like an older one, but this is an adult book. But Cackle by Rachel Harrison is very cozy horror, and I would say things that make it cozy are like there is a little spider that talks. So even if you're scared of spiders, he does. I don't know if he talks, but he has feelings, and he has a little bed, and they become friends, and it's like very sweet, and you're very into their friendship, and also kind of like Halloween Towny vibes. If you're familiar with the Disney Channel original movie, if you're not, I don't want to hear about it. Like I can't handle that feedback. If you're too young, I get it. Just don't tell me. That's between you and not me.
Is Nightmare Before Christmas cozy?
Yeah, I think that would be cozy horror.
Okay, I'm on board.
So I'm just saying, sorry, this is not.
Next project. Cozy
Your
horror.
mom's gonna be like, no, we didn't tell her to write a different thing. Why did you get it?
Genre.
I'm just saying you could if you wanted to. I think you could be great at it.
All right. Okay, I'll do it. Okay.
Okay, and I'm so sorry. This is gonna get dicey because I did not put my glasses on, which was a mistake because I am nearsighted. So the people in the back, I'm gonna have a hard time describing you, I think. But I believe there's somebody on the very end, and you have maybe a black jacket on. Is that true? Yeah.
What are your writing rituals that you do?
What are our authors' writing rituals?
Coffee. And Layla.
Is Layla a different dog?
Layla's my sister's dog.
Oh, okay.
But she's at school, so she's my dog for the year.
I just love how you dropped that. And Layla.
Layla.
I was like, if that's a cat, I'm gonna feel really sad for her.
My routine is just I try to write every single day, and I set writing goals. And my minimum writing goal is 10 words because everyone can, most of the hard part is just opening up the computer and sitting there, and inevitably you'll always write more, but realistically my goal is about 1,000 words a day.
I have a lot of rituals, but I think most of them are like when I get stuck. I have rituals to get unstuck. So I do like a chapter by chapter playlist for every book that I write, and if I'm stuck in a chapter, I will go on a walk and I will play that chapter's song over and over and over until I get unstuck, because that just reminds me sort of the point of that chapter for me, and it always works. I don't know, it's a great time.
Is this playlist public at all?
The Owl Crate playlist came from that playlist.
Okay.
So, yes.
So yes, you too can enjoy. This is starting to be so.
So Song Kang was 17 because I think he's like in his 20s. And yeah, so I don't really necessarily like for my K-pop books, I don't necessarily think a specific idol. It's more like if the like, for example, in XOXO, the main love interest, he's the main singer of the group. So for me, it's more like what the vibes of a main singer would be. And so like, obviously Jungkook, but then also other, main singer vibes. Jaehyun.
You're bringing together like all of
Yeah.
your main singer babies.
Yeah, and then like the youngest member is what they call the maknae, which is just the youngest member. So it's like they're usually the fun member. So it's like, all the different maknaes from different groups. So I don't necessarily have a person in mind. But yeah, Song Kang is Sunho. And if you don't know who that is, you can look him up.
It's a little treat that you're leaving the people with before the end of the evening.
Alright, so, hair's up and a ponytail because I needed to get out my face. Okay, this time around, I was way more better with talking with them. Okay, so one of them, this is like her debut. So I asked her, sorry, haven't read your book yet, but and I was watching her do her signature, and the question popped up like your signature, did you create it yourself? Oh no, actually I got it commissioned. And we talked about her signature for a second, and then I asked her, I'm like, can I get a photo with you? And she's like, yeah. So she gets up and she stood up to get a photo with me, and she was so nice. I'm excited to read her book. I saw her necklace, and I'm like, I love your necklace. It was like a sword, and I'm like, I wish I could like record these interactions so I don't have to like just tell it. But like, you know, I want the photo taken as well. Granted, I could come with someone and they could record it. And she was like, yeah, I, you know, themed my outfit around my book, and I'm like, it's cute. Anyway, so we took a photo, then I went to Axio. Oh, I loved her. I won the little like giveaway thing that she did. Like literally I saw before I like started getting ready, like 13 minutes ago, she had posted on her like Instagram story, like saying comment who you like more and you'll like get the pins. And I'm like, bitch, say less. And I'm like, dude, this was 13 minutes ago, plus I mean it's for today's event. I'm like, so I texted her, I was like, oh, it's Ren, and she's like, I just want to make it clear that like this is the St. Louis event. And I'm like, yes, I'll be there tonight. and when I went up to them and she saw my name, well, I mentioned like, oh yeah, and I you know, I messaged you on Instagram, and she's like, oh yeah, I remember your name. And I'm like, thanks. And she said something, how was it? I don't remember what she said, but she said something that led to how I was like, yeah, not many people know. Oh, I think, okay, I don't think she said anything. I think she said, yeah, I remember your name. And I'm like, yeah, not a lot of people know how to like say it correctly. And she's like, okay, now she's like, so how do you say it? Like, you try. You try. And she's like, well, now that I'm like, I don't think it's the way that I'm thinking now if everyone gets it wrong. And I'm like, oh, just oh, that's the girl that I chatted with in line. And I was like, just, you know. And so she's like, Kali? And I'm like, oh, she's the second person this week that pronounced it technically correctly by origin and stuff. And I'm like, no. She's like, oh, so it's Kaylee. And I was like, yeah, it's this is that word. Please walk past that car. Please walk past that car. That's not your car. And Kaylee. And I'm like, yeah, it's Kaylee. I'm like, a lot of people say Callie. And she's like, I don't see that. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, but technicalities, it is supposed to be called Kali, but my mom decided to be basic and went with Kaylee. And she then was like, oh, what's the origins? And I'm like, let me tell you. So I told her the origins of my name. You know, Missing Girl, spelled the way my name is spelled, and she liked that. People were walking past. And I, you know, told her the meaning, because obviously it's a cool backstory. Just, yeah, she decided to go with the basic pronunciation. And she complimented my outfit. Maybe when I'll get home, I'll do a little video. It'll be right here. And, oh, I got some goodies. They'll also be up here. And then I went to Mary E. Pearson and waited. Her line was really long because she has, you know, a lot of books. And I pull up and I asked her, like, you know, a basic question like, oh, what's your favorite one out of all your books? And she's like, the one I'm currently working on, so it's not published yet. I'm like, oh dang. I asked her that. She's like, not the favorite child question. And I'm like, yeah. And that reminded me, I'm like, wait, I think someone asked that earlier. Shit. And so yeah, that's what she replied. And then I asked her if she came up with her own signature, or if she, you know, commissioned someone. She's like, no, that's all me. She's like, it's how I write in documents. And I was like, oh, not you confessing that that's your signature for documents. And then she's like, but it's more. And so I like gave her a word. I was like, extravagant. And she's like, extravagant, thank you. Yes, it is. And yeah, that was it of the signing. Maybe I'll be better at this, I don't know, one day. Maybe I'll have a proper camera and not use my cell phone. Anyway, I gotta go. It is almost 9 o'clock. I got an hour to and I have to shower. I'm actually gonna cry. It's a good thing I'm not, oh my god. It's a good thing I'm not opening tomorrow. I mean, like, it's an hour after, like, opening. I have to be there at 5 a.m. So I get at least an extra hour sleep if than my typical shift. Anyway, I need to peace out. I need to go so I can get home, eat, and shower. Thank you for watching this vlog. I'll try to get better. The next one will be Rachel Gillig, and that is during Memorial Weekend. So I won't see you then. Bye. Look at that. Not sunset, because it's already gone. Bye.